vinyl community? Tim Eaton from Vinyl Vengeance here with a vinyl update. Plenty of CDs to show too. I'll start off with the CDs, but kind of a follow up to my last video. Still have power, so the southeast and northeast and central part of the country getting bombarded with snow and ice, and doesn't have anything to do with the music, but we've seen a little bit of snow, a whole lot of ice, now tons of rain, and then freezing temperatures tonight, and all that rain's going to freeze over. And so yeah, between that and dealing with the cold for the last week, it's been an interesting week, but plenty of cool music has come in, so I want to share that. Again, I'll start off with some CDs. So I've got an order in from Hell's Headbangers with some really cool doom. The first two I'm going to show are from Isole, which is a band out of Sweden, traditional doom. I do have one of their albums on vinyl. I didn't have any on CD, and these are re-releases on Hammerheart record. So the first one is Bliss of Solitude. So just re-released last month. Haven't not cracked this one open yet. You can see the hype sticker on there. This was originally released 2008, I believe, if I can read my tiny handwriting. 2008. This next one, I believe, was next year, 2009. This is Silent Ruins. Again, on Hammerheart Records. It does a great job of re-releasing CDs and records. Okay, next up, let's go to November's Doom, a band. I've got one of their albums on CD, double CD, To Welcome the Fade, which came out in 2007. No, earlier than that. Don't remember what year. 2002, maybe 2003. And Bleed White on record. And I saw this release from 2007. And this is, let's see, the Novella Reservoir. So this one comes in between the two that I currently have. And this is a U.S. band out of Chicago, I believe. And yeah, every once in a while they come out with a new album. They've been around for quite a while, kind of in the vein of Paradise Lost and maybe My Dying Bride, but U.S. So don't really hear a whole lot about this group, but two albums that I have I enjoy and look forward to giving that one a spin. And next up and last of this particular order is Wall of Sleep. And the title of this one is And Hell Followed With Him, and it's got Christ and the two thieves on the cross. This is not a Christian band, but they do kind of dip their toes into the Christian, well, not just imagery, but lyrically some of their songs. And this is a Hungarian band. I do have two of their other albums. I've got their first and second release, and this would be their third. Apparently they're still together, even came out with something in 2025. I do not have any of their more recent releases, but good traditional doom metal. Oh, and yeah, Wall of Sleep. So anybody who doesn't know where they got that name from, you need to do some research. I would say if you're into doom metal and you don't recognize that, shame. But yeah, if you're not sure of Wall of Sleep and that do some research there and get back with me. Let's see. Last of the CDs. This will be a little different than Doom. I put in a pre-order with Girder Records for this, and it is the new Petra album, Hope. Brand new, 2026. This might be the first CD of the new year that I got. I know I've got a few records from 2026 now, but 10 new tracks from Petra. And I think mostly all, not original members. This band's been around for so long, you're never going to get all the original members from the first like 2 releases. This is John Schlitt and the original guitar player, but yeah, maybe the band that you'd be familiar with from the late 80s and early 90s. And so they also included a merchandise insert. And these guys have been doing some touring for the last 2 years. You can see the touring, let's get that right there, touring members there. And I also got a Bible study book that goes along. There is I guess a day for each one of the songs, ties in. And so should probably start that up today's Sunday, and keep me connected the next few days, all off from work because of the weather. All right, now I'm gonna move into the records, and I didn't mention I've got a package. Of course, you probably saw that in the title. Ron Haverty, my buddy, who's been selling a bunch of his collection. I did put in another order, so I got a package in from him. I will share that at the end of the video, so I'm working up towards that. Excuse me. All right, the next 2 are from a band that I was not familiar with. I remember seeing this next one I'm going to show. I'd seen this cover online before. I've always figured, oh, it was probably black metal. They're definitely a mix of heavy death metal, black metal, maybe some Eastern Indian, not Eastern Indian, Eastern, Middle Eastern. That's the words I'm looking for. As far as some instrumentation, the main band is from at least one member from Jerusalem. There were some other members that came on board from some European countries. I guess sometime at some point, the band, their center base had been in Jerusalem, but they kind of got, I don't know, run out of there, and now I believe they're mostly based out of Germany. See if I can pronounce this correct. Now I'm working on it here because I don't want to butcher it. Melakesh, spelled Melechesh. And of course, I'll have that probably somewhere in the comments or down below. But Melakesh, this is Sphinx. I believe their second or third full length, and this is a repress. Came out in 2025. I can't tell you right this moment what company. I'll probably be able to get that from the second record. But this was originally released in 2003, so been around for a while. And those of you into the more extreme metal will probably already know this band. So yeah, I've given this one a listen and enjoyed that. This next one, which was their, I believe, the follow-up record. This one is Emissaries, and this one came out in 2006. I don't think they had one in between these two. Tower of Babel. It's got a really nice swirl black with some lighter colors in there. And let me see if I can figure out which company did these represses. It is Osmos Productions. So I think they originally released. So that company is just, through the years they'll repress their product, their records, CDs. Osmos. All right, moving on. Invocator. I think one of my videos, sometime in the last month and a half, I got in their second album. And this one was on my radar, and some other friends had commented, you need to get their first one. So this is a technical thrash band. Definitely have that look to be like death metal, but they're thrash. Excellent thrash. And so this is a repress. No surprise. Splatter clear. And this, I'm not sure if let's see. This one was, do I get the original pressing or repress date? Not on that. It's probably on the inner sleeve. So I think this was repressed just within the last year. But originally, I think this came 1991 original pressing. And that originally it was pressed on Black Mark Productions, which anybody into Bathory, you would be familiar with that label. that label hasn't re-released a lot of their products, so I'm glad to see other companies like Hammer, this one's Hammer Heart, that has taken on some of those older releases that have not been re-released, especially on vinyl, and started putting them out. All right, 2 more, and then we'll get to the package. This one I got from my buddy Joe, Uncle Slam. This is their first release, and Say Uncle. So this is original press, Caroline Records, U.S., crossover thrash. If you like your suicidal tendencies and Excel, bands like that, check them out. And last, something that many of you may not be familiar with, and I wasn't familiar with it. I would credit this one to Joe again. This one is Beholder. This is their first release. It is a double vinyl, gatefold. This band is out of Pennsylvania, and they are Epic Doom, traditional metal, 2025 release. Couldn't tell you if the vinyl is colored or not. Have not cracked this one open yet. It was released on Black Lion Records. And so if you like your doom metal, and you like your doom metal from the Northeast and from Philadelphia and Baltimore and those areas, there's been a lot of great doom bands from that area. And as far as I know, I'm not familiar with any of the band members on this, so I have to give it a listen and get back to you all on that. All right, moving on, because we're 11 minutes into this. I need to open up this package, and of course I already know what I got here, but I wanted to acknowledge Ron and share out some additional goodies that I got from him. Of course, these are ones that I passed over on the first 3 purchases I've made from Ron, so I'm sure there's still more that he has that I would love to pick up. All right, let's see what we've got first here. Another doom band, Altar of Oblivion, another Danish band, and I've got 1 record and 1 mini CD or EP from them. This was originally released on Shadow Kingdom Records in 2009. I think it was recorded 2008. Again, Danish doom, traditional doom, probably heavily influenced by Candlemass. So I know what I'm getting from these guys here. This one is Sinews of Anguish, their first full-length release. Right, speaking of Candlemass, next up, I've got this on re-release CD. I think it was a double CD. It's been a while since I've given it a spin. Chapter 6. So this was, I believe, their first full-length after Messiah Marcone, if I'm saying his name right, left the band. And I should have looked up the name of the guy that came on board here. I've got some other CDs with him on it. He's a great vocalist. This kind of steers a little bit more traditional metal. There's still some doom elements, but a lot more just traditional. It's a fantastic, underrated album. For those of you that maybe steered clear of Candlemass because you weren't much into doom metal and not into the slower stuff, I would say check these guys out. This is a later repress on Peaceville, and I believe Peaceville originally put this out, but I didn't ask Ron for all the specifics on it, so I will have to give a look to see what year that one came out. Should have another Candlemass, this one with Rob Lowe on vocals, and I believe this was his 3rd album, maybe his last one with them. I'd have to look to see whether he did a 4th one. I know there were some EPs, I think, that came out, but this one is Psalms for the Dead. Another Candlemass double LP. Not sure if this is a original press or later. Looks like 2012, Napalm Records. So I'm guessing this is an original. Again, not sure if it is colored vinyl or if it is black. Doesn't matter much to me. Of course, the black would look pretty good with that cover there, and or yellow, or yellow black swirl. All right, got 2 more to share. This one will kind of get away from genre-wise what I've shown so far. Danger Danger, self-titled. I never checked out this late 80s, early 90s when hair metal was a thing. I remember seeing this in the stores. I did eventually get their second album, Monkey Business, maybe, the one with the gorilla on it. And the girl, I've got that one on CD, but I picked that one up, maybe 10 years ago. So never got this one, but I've given some listen to some tracks online, and I like what I heard. And yeah, Ron was selling his stuff at a good price, so I got this. Don't know if it's an OG. Doesn't matter. Looks like music on vinyl, so it's a repress. But I love music on vinyl represses. I've not had any issues with anything from music on vinyl. So great store there. And last but not least, an album that I've had on CD since it came out in, I believe it was 1990, and this band just was firing on all cylinders on this one. I would say it's probably the last truly great album, even though the last one that they came out with, I need to revisit that one because I was pretty impressed with that too. And that's the Scorpions, Crazy World. I know it's not the Uli Roth era, but as far as the 80s and 90s and even into the 2000s, this is a great album. It's got the rockers, it's got the ballads, it's got a really great mix of songs, and I just never got around to getting this one on record. And so 1990, and remember picking this up, and Alice Cooper Trash, and there's so many great albums coming out in 1990 and 91. Of course, back then I was pretty much spending money on CDs exclusively. Had stopped buying records, and it wasn't until another 15 years later that I started getting back into the records again. Mostly with Doom and Stoner, and then it exploded to what you all saw in my share video just a few days ago. So appreciate you all watching. We're at the 17 mark again, and you all have things to do, so I don't want to keep you any further, but thanks for watching. Comment below, tell me which albums I shared that you're familiar with, that you love too, or maybe ones that you weren't familiar with and might be checking out. Definitely give a like, comment, heck, share if you think there's other people that might watch. Stay safe out there, stay warm for those of you in the cold regions, and pray that y'all maintain your electricity, because I'm hoping we do here. God bless. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Peace out.